Hello and welcome. In this video, you'll find the complete summary of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. This timeless classic follows the life of Pip, an orphan boy whose journey through love, ambition, and self-discovery reveals the true meaning of wealth and character. Let's dive into Dickens' world and uncover Pip's great expectations. Ron 5. Philip Pirrip, known as Pip, is a young orphan boy living with his harsh and domineering sister, Mrs. Joe Gargery, and her kind-hearted husband Joe, a blacksmith. One evening, while visiting his parents' graves in the churchyard, Pip is suddenly confronted by a terrifying escaped convict. This ragged, desperate man, later revealed to be Abel Magwitch, threatens Pip, demanding food and a file to remove his chains. Frightened but compassionate, Pip agrees to help. This moment becomes a turning point in Pip's life. Out of fear and pity, he sneaks bread, meat, and brandy from his sister's pantry and steals Joe's file. He delivers them to the convict, who is later captured after a chase through the marshes. Pip feels guilty, but Magwitch surprisingly does not reveal Pip's assistance to the authorities. This early chapter sets the tone of guilt, secrecy, and moral conflict that will haunt Pip throughout his journey. It also introduces the novel's theme of fate, how a small act of kindness can alter the entire course of a life. Life with the Gargerys and the introduction of Miss Havisham, Pip grows up under the strict hand of Mrs. Joe, who constantly reminds him of the burden he is. Joe, however, becomes Pip's father figure and true friend, showing him gentleness and honesty. Pip's simple life changes when he is invited to the decaying mansion of Miss Havisham, an eccentric and wealthy woman who has lived in seclusion since being jilted at the altar years earlier. Miss Havisham lives in Satis House, a place where time seems frozen, the clock stopped at the moment of her betrayal, the wedding feast rotting untouched on the table. She raises her adopted daughter Estella to be beautiful but cold-hearted, teaching her to break men's hearts as revenge against the world. Pip is instantly captivated by Estella's beauty, even though she mocks him for being a common boy with rough hands and unrefined manners. This encounter awakens in Pip feelings of shame about his humble origins and ignites his longing to rise above his station. The seed of ambition and the desire for gentility is planted, Pip's secret longings and the promise of a new future. After repeated visits to Satis House, Pip becomes increasingly infatuated with Estella. Miss Havisham encourages this, manipulating Pip's emotions as part of her own bitter revenge. Pip dreams of becoming a gentleman, believing that only wealth and refinement will make him worthy of Estella's love. Back at home, Pip feels growing dissatisfaction with his apprenticeship to Joe. The honest trade of blacksmithing, once acceptable, now feels beneath him. His shame deepens when Estella continues to ridicule his manners and lowly background. Then, in a dramatic twist, a mysterious lawyer named Mr. Jaggers appears with astonishing news. Pip has great expectations. A secret benefactor has provided him with wealth and the chance to become a gentleman in London. The identity of this benefactor is to remain secret until they choose to reveal themselves. Pip, thrilled, assumes it must be Miss Havisham, grooming him to marry Estella. This revelation sets Pip on a new path, one filled with ambition, pride, and the temptation to abandon the simple loyalty of Joe and his past. Pip's departure and London life. Excited yet conflicted, Pip prepares to leave his humble village behind. Joe, though sad, supports him wholeheartedly, while Mrs. Joe, ever resentful, shows little affection. Pip feels a mix of guilt and pride. Guilt for abandoning Joe, but pride for finally being recognized as someone destined for greater things. In London, Pip is placed under the care of Mr. Jaggers, the intimidating and sharp-tongued lawyer. Jaggers is a man of great power and influence, feared by criminals and respected in society. Pip quickly learns that London is not the glamorous paradise he once imagined. Instead, it is a city full of filth, crime, and moral corruption. Still, Pip is determined to embrace his new life. He is introduced to Herbert Pocket, a cheerful and optimistic young man who soon becomes Pip's closest friend. Herbert teaches him the manners and etiquette of a gentleman, while also sharing his own struggles to make something of himself. Pip begins to spend money freely, enjoying the pleasures of city life while losing touch with the values Joe instilled in him. The contrast between Joe's honest simplicity and the artificial sophistication of London begins to grow sharper, foreshadowing Pip's inner conflict. Pip's growth, pride, and distance from home. As the years pass, Pip increasingly adopts the airs of a gentleman. He spends lavishly, often beyond his means, and distances himself from his humble roots. The once deep bond with Joe fades as Pip becomes embarrassed by Joe's lack of refinement. During a visit home, Pip feels this shame keenly. Joe's clumsy manners at Miss Havisham's table leave Pip humiliated, though Miss Havisham and Estella remain as enigmatic as ever. Estella, now grown into a stunning young woman, continues to treat Pip with cold indifference. Still, his infatuation deepens, and he convinces himself that his wealth and transformation are meant to prepare him for marriage to her. Yet, Miss Havisham never explicitly promises Estella's hand. Instead, she watches Pip's devotion with a strange satisfaction, as though using him to fuel her own revenge against men. Pip's pride blinds him to the truth. He looks down on Joe and Biddy, a kind girl who clearly cares for him, believing he has outgrown their simplicity. This arrogance creates a painful emotional distance between Pip and the people who love him most. The shocking return of Magwitch. Just as Pip begins to fully embrace his life as a gentleman, his world is shaken to the core. One stormy night, an unexpected visitor arrives, Abel Magwitch, the convict Pip helped as a child. To Pip's horror, Magwitch reveals that he is Pip's true benefactor, not Miss Havisham. All of Pip's assumptions crumble in an instant. The wealth and great expectations that transformed his life did not come from the elegant Miss Havisham, grooming him for Estella, but from a coarse and criminal man, grateful for a boy's kindness years ago. Pip is repulsed and horrified, feeling that his gentlemanly status is tainted by Magwitch's criminal background. Yet beneath the shock, Magwitch's devotion is undeniable. He risked his freedom to see Pip, and his pride in Pip's transformation is genuine. Pip, however, struggles to reconcile his snobbery with this raw truth. This revelation marks a turning point in Pip's character. He must confront the illusions he built, the pride that distanced him from Joe, and the reality of where his fortune truly came from. Pip's inner conflict and Estella's fate. After learning that Magwitch is his benefactor, Pip's world unravels. His long-cherished dream that Miss Havisham was preparing him for Estella collapses. Still, his love for Estella remains unshaken. When Pip visits Miss Havisham again, he discovers the full cruelty of her scheme. She never intended to make Pip wealthy or to give him Estella. Instead, she raised Estella only to break men's hearts, a tool in her revenge against the man who betrayed her. Pip realizes that he was nothing more than a pawn in her bitterness. Meanwhile, Estella's destiny is equally tragic. Despite Pip's love, she marries Bentley Drummle, a wealthy but brutish man. Estella, trained to reject true affection, chooses a cold, loveless union that promises status but no happiness. Pip is crushed, his illusions shattered once again. For the first time, Pip begins to see clearly. The world of wealth, refinement, and ambition is full of deception and pain. The innocence of Joe's forge, once a source of shame, now begins to glow in his memory as a symbol of real kindness and honesty. Magwitch's story and Pip's redemption. Despite his initial disgust, Pip slowly develops compassion for Magwitch. The convict reveals his life story, a childhood of poverty, years of crime and betrayal by his former partner, Compeyson, the same man who abandoned Miss Havisham at the altar. This revelation ties the fates of all the characters together, showing how suffering and betrayal echo across lives. Magwitch's devotion to Pip is sincere. Everything he earned, often through hardship, was sent to make Pip into a gentleman. Though society labels him a criminal, Magwitch displays more genuine loyalty and gratitude than many of the so-called gentlemen Pip admired. As Pip cares for Magwitch, who is eventually captured and sentenced to death, Pip's character transforms. He begins to understand humility, loyalty, and love. In his darkest hour, when he is nearly arrested for debt, Joe comes to his rescue, nursing him back to health. Pip is overwhelmed with guilt for having abandoned Joe and Biddy, realizing that true gentility lies not in wealth, but in kindness. The ending, lessons of love and forgiveness. The novel concludes with Pip's redemption. He apologizes to Joe and Biddy, who have married and built a peaceful life together. Pip no longer seeks wealth or status. His pride is gone, replaced by humility. Years later, Pip encounters Estella once more. She has suffered greatly under Drummel's cruelty and has been changed by her pain. Their meeting is bittersweet. Standing in the ruins of Satis' house, they speak with honesty for the first time. Estella admits she has learned compassion through suffering, while Pip accepts that their paths may never join as he once dreamed. The novel closes ambiguously, with some versions hinting that Pip and Estella may walk into the future together, while others suggest they part as friends. Either way, Pip's journey is complete. He has moved beyond illusions of wealth and romance to embrace the deeper truths of love, loyalty, and forgiveness. Themes and legacy. Great Expectations is not just Pip's story, it is a mirror of human ambition and weakness. Dickens explores class, wealth, love, betrayal, and redemption with unforgettable characters. Pip's growth from a naive boy into a humbled man reflects the universal struggle to distinguish between illusion and reality, pride and humility, selfishness and love. Enjoyed this summary? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with more classic book summary.